FIRE stands for financially independent, retire early. The very basic premise of this is that you can save up a certain amount of money, invest it into certain investments like the S&P 500. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the FIRE movement's biggest flaw and why resellers are actually at a really big advantage when it comes to dealing with this issue. But first, if you don't know me, I'm Seth, or Checkmate Flips on YouTube. I sell on Amazon and Walmart and am learning to buy and sell houses for profit at the moment. And oftentimes at the beginning of my videos, I like to just share my Amazon sales to show that I'm actually doing this and I'm actually doing what I talk about here. So these are my sales right now. We're recording in late February and we're at 73K in sales so far, with 2,300 in sales for today. But let's just jump right into this. So we're going to also talk about what even is FIRE if you don't even know what this is. But the very beginning of why this is an issue is the reason of why Amazon sellers even get into selling in the first place. Especially Amazon selling. It's really marketed as something that you can escape your 9-to-5 from, and you can basically have a VA team that just works for you and you don't have to do any work whatsoever. It's really targeted a lot of the time towards the people who really just hate their jobs. 10K a month is always promised because that seems to be the magic number for people who are trying to get out of their regular job that they just really don't like. And I think this is a couple things combined together. Number one, it really focuses on work being something that is just bad to be avoided. Get out as quick as you can. And so some of that is what the marketing is saying and actually influencing people into. And then some of that is just the people that marketing works on are the people who already feel that way about their work. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there when it comes to that. It finds the people who feel that way and it influences the people who are leaning that way towards more of a negative view on work. And so very similarly to that is sometimes the FIRE movement and how oftentimes people, they don't want to just start another business. They want to just save up as much money as they can in order to have passive income and escape from their 9-to-5, which is a lot of times what FIRE ends up being. If you don't know what FIRE is, FIRE stands for financially independent, retire early. The very basic premise of this is that you can save up a certain amount of money, invest it into certain investments like the S&P 500. If it makes 7% after inflation, kind of like it has averaged over the last however many years, you can then have a certain amount invested and have that interest cover your living expenses. And so I 100% want to say not all the people who enjoy working towards that goal and have that goal actually feel that way about work. Actually, I think the people who are most successful with it have a bit bigger picture meaning in their life. But oftentimes people get into thinking about this movement from a very anti-work perspective. And oftentimes that crosses into reselling because people got into reselling because they came across an anti-work marketing strategy that told them they're going to just sit on the beach and watch money come into their bank account, and that they're going to be happy doing that. And so there we can get to FIRE's biggest flaw, which is its negative portrayal of work. And the thing is I don't think people can understand how negatively this actually affects people until they've actually experienced it, but you can get a taste of understanding it just by hearing people talk about it. So I'm going to keep talking about it. Basically, if you have no meaning in life and you're just traveling all the time and you're just living and doing nothing that actually contributes anything to anyone, that is gonna be something that really eats away at you. I don't know how else to say it. It's just not a very good, enjoyable way to live. There have been so many stories of people who have built up successful companies and then sold them for millions, and then they end up fishing and drinking beer, and after a couple months or a couple years sometimes, they just end up starting new things because they realize that sitting and fishing and not actually doing much of anything is gonna be just pretty unfulfilling. And so what ends up happening is that people go from one extreme, which is doing way too much work, thinking about it too much, and having a very negative work situation, to having no work situation where they're not contributing and nothing's happening there, and they go to the other extreme where there's too little stress and too little of anything that's stretching them and helping them contribute to the world. So how can resellers actually exploit this? So once you actually know what you're doing with reselling, it's not like you have to work grinding for 40 hours a week if you don't want to. Reselling is actually super flexible once you actually have some systems in place and know what you're doing. And so that opens up a lot of benefits where you can work sometimes and then you can rest sometimes. Balance, interesting. And you can still work towards financially independent, retire early, because if you're really good at reselling, you can make quite a bit of money. Just the key is being able to actually continue contributing to the world and make it a better place while not having to just grind 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week or 60 hours a week just for the sake of grinding, because you're trying to build up a certain amount of money in order to have passive income, is going to be really helpful in that situation. Because even if you do have a certain amount of passive income that covers your expenses, you're going to want to be doing something with some of your time. So yes, pick up hobbies. Yes, travel. Yes, spend more time with your family. But also find some work that's enjoyable, that's actually helpful to people and that you're good at. And you can do all of those things in balance in a better way. And why even wait until you're financially independent, retire early to do that? Just build up some skills and ways of making money and work towards balance now, instead of waiting and grinding 12 years at a job that you don't like in order to get to that point. And then you realize you're even too old to enjoy it. So hopefully that at least gets the ball rolling and helps you think through some of these issues. And if this was helpful, please leave a comment below or subscribe. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day and take care.